just text him.
Okay.
It's still doing its thing, so it's not actually recording. Okay, now it's recording. Just so you know, it's recording. I'm not going to turn these on until we're ready to talk, because it literally, every time we have a meeting, it eats all the batteries. So
Okay.
Building's unlocked, so if anybody needs to come in. No, you go.
He'll be here in 2 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Connor will be here in 2 minutes.
You said 2 minutes?
Mhm.
So he is coming. Wonderful. Well, I can add your phone, right?
What's that?
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say, we can wait until he's here and just start the meeting. I don't have a problem with that at all. Awesome, we start late. Start early, but we can have a problem.
We'll drag this out about 2 minutes and then we'll start.
okay.
Means you're human.
Say again?
Means you're human.
Okay. I guess we'll call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cavazos?
Present.
Pearson?
Here.
Here.
Edward?
Here?
And Day?
Here.
Okay. We got an agenda that I guess is going to make it up to the web page, but it has.
I'm sorry, it was put on the website.
Is it on?
It's there in the normal place.
Okay. It's up there. It includes a few other things that won't be doing, since this is a special meeting, we'll be going directly to the special items. And that is the certificate of appropriateness. So right now we have, I guess, the certificate of appropriateness for Foster's Grill. I guess, do we need to open it? Anybody need to make a motion, or I guess we can go right into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can go right into it. I guess first thing we can do is, would you like to present anything, or?
Well, just to, I guess, refresh everyone's memories, Mr. Cerny had applied for some review by the ARB of lighting to his building, and the lighting was be specifically directed towards signage that I guess we've never actually worked out the permitting on. The permitting was, I guess, in limbo based on, my understanding was when he wanted to put the signage up, there was a review of the sign ordinance, which we have since adopted, going on at that moment. And so, for whatever reason, the signage was allowed to be placed on the building. My understanding was with the contingency of it was to let the town know what the signage would look like, or what he wanted to put, while the pending of the zoning ordinance rewrite and review, but that once the zoning ordinance was adopted, that the signage could be subject to, the review, obviously, under the new ordinance, which might or might not allow him to keep that signage. For whatever reason, that was the thing that was in place at the time. I can't answer a whole lot of questions about why it was done that way, because I honestly don't think I have all of the details myself. Marchant was here last time to explain, how it happened while he was here. He was not able to be here tonight. So for whatever reason, I'd love it if we could just sort of start now and move forward with this particular application and try to see what we have. We certainly don't want to penalize Mr. Cerny in any unfair way. We want to treat him fairly. He did provide the extra information that I needed to review in order to see that he had a complete application. He provided it in a very timely manner. I did look through it very, very carefully. I reviewed the sign ordinance and the Architectural Review Board standards, which I have here, for the signage. I don't want to actually make any kind of a recommendation on what you all are going to be looking at as far as your purview, because I don't know that that's appropriate this early in the game. I haven't worked with you all yet. In the future, I will be providing a staff report on things like this with specific items, that I think you might want to look at, but not there yet. As far as the sign ordinance itself, the specifics of the signage and the lighting on the western side of the building as it faces Highway 15 does meet the size requirements of the sign ordinance and the zoning itself. And the lighting appears to also meet that as well. However, the signage on the Washington Street face is larger than is actually permitted in the sign ordinance. And so I can't, we could not, it isn't up for review. I guess the one on the Washington Street face is not up for review. So what you guys would be looking at tonight would be the lighting and the western sign, okay? The sign that doesn't meet the zoning ordinance, you could comment on it if you feel it's appropriate to give him some guidance. But in order to get a permit for that sign, he would have to consider some alternate options.
Okay. Yeah, so right now the application is just looking at the signage, or the lighting to the signage, so we should be including the western sign in on this?
Yes, please. The western sign does appear to meet the zoning ordinance requirements for size and materials and things like that. As far as what the Architectural Review Board would look at would be the placement of the sign, its relationship to the building and the building surrounding, as well as the colors, materials, those sorts of things, the things that you all normally look at with signage. So.
Okay. Mr. Cerny, is there anything you would want to, any comments you want to make before we start to go through a discussion, or?
I'm not going to rehash everything that's everybody's.
Can you just turn on the?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
There it goes. Oh, it turned off.
It's really particular, isn't it? Yeah.
There it goes.
There it goes.
Just let me know if it goes off.
Yeah, we will. I'll watch it for you.
I'm not going to rehash everything. I think everything's out on the table. Plus, everything is just going to waste people's time. I'm not sure why the Washington Street sign wouldn't be discussed at this time as well, at least to say that it's not going to be allowed, that there's some call on it, and the reason why, instead of not being placed at all for any decision. Again, I don't know the formalities. You all have that experience. I'm just curious as to that matter. Signs have been in place now. We're coming up on 16 months. I think the passage of time is more should be brought into consideration in this matter. No matter what was said or done in the past, there was wrongs done on maybe on both people's behalf, possibly. But the misleading of the information from the get-go from Marchant, alluding to get these signs up right away so that it can have an impression on the citizens and the council. If I would have known it would have come to this, I would have never done it. So If there's any questions about the signs or the lighting in itself, or if you want me to read through everything that you have in front of you, I'd be happy to do that. I'll take direction from you all.
Okay. I guess we'll start on one thing at a time. We'll look at the sign design
Okay.
and see if anybody has any comments on the sign design. You know, typically we have a palette that we follow. We can critique on this, determine what exceptions we want to make to the palette if necessary.
I just wanted to share with Mr. Cerny that our purview is strictly on the design of the signs, the colors, the aesthetics, and the zoning administrator decides on the size of the sign. So
Okay.
that is outside of our purview. So we do the lighting and the design of the sign, and then the size of the signs is the zoning administrator.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody have any questions about that?
No, I'm 100% okay with how the sign looks.
I'm just a little bit concerned that with the colors and also with the actual, I guess, the material that's being used for the sign, the only reason I'm concerned is that if we make this exception for this particular type of sign and the colors and all of that, I'm just concerned that going forward, we're going to have other issues, just keeping it fair for everyone. Because the colors aren't the same as in our historic color book. And then the signs that are already on the building look like they're three-dimensional, and then this one is flat. So.
Could I have some clarification, if you don't mind, about
Sure.
the signage that's on the building? Are you talking about the other signage that's
Yes.
on the building? And then the signs that are under review appear flat in relation to those signs?
Exactly.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that I understood what you were saying.
Would you clarify 4410s as three-dimensional? Are you referencing
The lettering.
the lettering of the sign
Yes.
as it's on the monument sign and above everybody's door? Is that what you're referencing?
Exactly.
Okay, but would you not agree that 4410s is not three-dimensional?
Who's that 4410?
It's on the east side of the
Eastern
building.
side. It's on the eastern side, on the lower left corner, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Is that the music store?
Yes.
Yes.
Not truly the music store, but the
No,
facility
yeah.
underneath.
Yeah.
I would just, if my opinion is, because I'm there all the time, I would classify 4410s as not three-dimensional.
Okay.
I would classify it as.
I don't have a
flat on the-
picture of it, so I'm not sure.
It is flat.
I was just going to see if I could find a picture to show her.
And in addition, I don't know the exact name of the tenant, but on the rear side of the building, there's a flat sign for the.
Little Divas.
Yes, yes. And it is in a white background, just as the Foster's Grill sign is, with multiple colors.
Okay.
As just a friendly suggestion,
Uh-huh.
I just want to mention something that Connor mentioned last time about maybe moving the sign up. It might look a little better.
On which, on the west side?
Yeah, on the side one. And you could move it up. Again, not a deal breaker either way, just a friendly thought. But if you move it up, you might be able to see it out closer to the road, the highway, a little further out, and it would match the, how do you put this?
Archway?
Yeah. Before you put the the lighting in permanently, just a thought.
No, and I appreciate the thought. If I recall the conversation with Marchant, I wasn't in the initial stage allowed to go above a certain height
Off
Okay.
off the street, so that's why it's not at a higher level.
Can I also ask about the mention last time about painting like a mural? Have you thought about that?
Well, it was presented and it was part of discussions over the last 10 years with various other council members and so on that were turned down consistently.
Oh, okay.
It was recently, I'd say, once the new sign ordinance was passed, Marchand made a point in telling me that you can put a mural on there, you can take the whole side of the building. Now, I don't know if that is a fact. Would it be an option? I'm not sure. You know, everything comes down to dollars and cents. Very lucky that we have a landlord that will allow me to do anything as long as it meets, you know, requirements. He's there to support Foster's Grill. So until I really understand what can or cannot be done, I don't have an answer yet. I know it's something that we wanted initially right from the get-go.
Okay.
At that point, after all the years, had given up on it. So.
Okay.
Okay. Everyone's questions about the signage complete? Okay, we'll go on to the lighting now. A quick question I have for the lighting is, we show the gooseneck and the light fixture itself. Do we have anything on the base on how this is going to be attached? I guess covering the electrical box.
Just let me double check real quick here.
Yeah, because we already have one style going on below, and if you go on the big picture here, you can kind of get details on the styling and how it's kind of being attached to the vertical piece of the bar.
You do have this picture
Yes.
in your attachment. So the highlighted one of the 12-inch will show I assume what you're talking about is how it's mounted to the brick itself.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a round cylinder, and basically what we did was looked at what was on Chick-fil-A, Piedmont, and looked at those to mirror and match since they've already been pushed through. So we went to mirror exactly what was there.
Okay, so the base being shown on the straight pole.
The base here connected
Yeah.
to the building, yes, that's what it would look like, yes.
Okay.
And obviously the same color as the rest in black.
Right. Anybody have any questions on the lighting?
Yes, sir.
No? Okay. Now, again, our decision and discussions is going to be on the design of this and also the design of the lighting and the placement of the lighting. There's still the conflict on whether, the signs are going to be, the western sign has already been approved, but you
They
still
haven't
have the...
approved, but they're approved. The western sign is approvable under the zoning,
Approvable.
under the sign. The Washington Street sign is too big to be approved.
Right.
It's too
But
large.
they haven't been approved
Right.
per,
Right, well, I guess
Okay.
we're looking at two things. The zoning ordinance, the sign ordinance would allow the size of the western sign. It would not allow the size of the one that fronts on Washington Street.
Right.
So I haven't approved anything until after you guys get done.
Right.
The only thing that we're discussing is the lighting and the color and the design that's on the sign. You approve the rest of the,
Right.
The signs, yeah.
yes.
And also, with the lighting, I just want to say, because there's an opportunity for this to occur, I want to put a conditional in this approval that the lighting follows the sign. So if the sign doesn't go up, the lighting fixture wouldn't be going up, just because it would be kind of sitting there doing nothing, right?
Okay.
Does anybody have any objections to that? Would you object to that?
could you repeat that? I'm not sure I followed.
What I'd do is add a conditional statement to your application saying that The lighting will be paired up to the sign, so if the sign's rejected, that one light for the 55 side would not be approved because there's not going to be any sign to light.
I don't think he's going to spend the money to put a light up.
Well,
for a sign
it's
that's
just
not
putting in
gonna-
the conditional so that if the loophole's there, right?
Of course.
So I'm just trying to,
So you're, just so, to be clear, is you're stating that the condition is if there is no sign on 55 side, I can't put the light up there.
right, makes sense.
The purpose of the lights is for the sign
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
so.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. Well, I just want to make sure that,
It's fine.
it's totally communicated.
Dotting your i's, crossing your t's.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Is this a trademarked logo?
The Home of the Charburger is.
Just,
I'm sorry, yes, Home of the Charburger is a registered trademark.
okay. But the picture and the design itself are not,
In the format that you see it, it is not as of yet.
okay.
When it is used in a different format that is not here with verbiage and language, it is.
Okay.
And I guess as the staff would need some clarification.
Mm-hmm.
The font for Foster's Grill and the little icon of the little guy that's carrying the burger itself. I guess we've got three components to this sign. We have the red box that says Home of the Charburger, then we have the kind of slanted black text that says Foster's Grill, and then we have the boy with the burger. Can we be really specific about what your question related to? Because you said, is this trademarked? I'm just trying to...
No, I thought the whole
The whole-
logo design, I was asking if that was trademarked.
Okay, and so the answer was...
The answer is no.
No. As we stand today,
As
no.
to the way you
Okay.
worded your question,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
It's
So-
not our sign.
If we were to break this into components, the guy with the burger being one, the black Foster's Grill being
Home of the
two,
Charburger
Home
is a
of the
registered
Charburger being
trademark.
three. That is the registered trademark.
That is
Okay,
correct.
thank you. That makes it really clear for me.
Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, I guess we'll open it up for vote. Anybody have a motion?
Make a motion to approve ZP 2016-033 for Foster's Grill, 4418 Costello Way, on the condition that the lights will only be installed if the signs are approved and approved.
Okay, I got a motion.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Last chance for discussions.
Can we,
Friendly amendment?
I'm just trying to think if we need to have a friendly amendment, just to say that it's just for the design, it's not for the size, but I
No.
think everybody
That
gets
would all be,
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be good.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I'm good.
okay. Then we'll go for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're good. So lighting can go on signs that are approved.
But the next step would be approval through you, Suzanne, is that correct?
That's
Some
correct,
form.
and I can approve the western sign, so you could go ahead and pull your permit tomorrow to put the lighting and the western sign is up, so the lighting, if you're going to move the sign or whatever, and then add the lighting over the western sign. The Washington Street frontage, we still need to have a conversation about.
Can you give him some clarification on the height of the sign? Is he legally, sign-wise,
Yeah, he
ordinance,
could-
is he able to raise it up?
He could
If he
raise it,
wanted
and
to.
to be honest, I'd have to go back and look at it again to see what the height would be allowed, but my understanding was you could raise it up to that, so that it's a little more even with the arch, if you want to. I mean, it's up to you,
Mhm.
because I didn't hear that the board was going to declare that that was going to be one of their conditions. Is that correct?
Right.
Correct.
But since you may need to, replace the one that may end up being not allowed, since you got to get up there anyway, maybe just a thought.
Appreciate the input.
Right.
And just make sure that you share with Mr. Cerny what the allowable sign size is on the front.
12 square feet. If he brought a sign to me tomorrow that was identical to the sign that you all just approved, and it was 12
square feet.
I would give him a permit. I would have no latitude not to give him a permit.
Right.
At this point.
So we've already approved the design, so if you want to make a smaller sign for the front.
Okay,
That's
we'll
up
think
to
about
you.
that. Thank you.
And
Okay.
and also placement of the light on that sign, right above it, just like you have in the design.
Mhm.
Right. Whatever
So
makes
all that's been approved.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay?
understood.
So
Thank
there
you.
should be no need for you to come back to them once we decide how we're going
Mhm.
to handle the question.
Okay. Then I will get with you later.
Yeah. I'll be back on Wednesday morning at 8.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for holding this meeting today.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Yeah, you can do it. We just, a small motion. You can amend a special meeting as long as everyone is here and it is a unanimous vote.
So,
You want to add citizens time? That'd be the easiest way to do it.
probably, yeah.
Excellent. Chair, I make a motion to add citizens time to this special meeting on 11/28/2016.
I'll second that.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. We'll vote on it. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
May I
Did
ask,
you want to?
may I ask who's second, if you don't mind? I missed
Oh,
it.
me.
You did?
I did. Thank you, Susanna.
Sorry.
Dottie, did you want to share I figured that's why you came, to share the pictures.
Oh, and you know what I just did? Here, take mine. Here. I didn't know they were going to do that.
I'm Dottie Leonard from 14801 Washington Street, and I had served on the Planning Commission off and on about 20 years in the town, on my 45th year of living here, and I get embarrassed to keep saying that, but I feel like I have to.
Proud of it.
And I was on the town council when we set up the Historic Commission and the ARB, and the whole reason for doing that was because we needed to have some controls over what properties looked like. Otherwise, the town wasn't going to develop tastefully. So it has evolved somewhat, but originally the town's Historic Commission voted and recommended to us, the council, to use a colonial theme, only because the town was founded in 1799, and we wanted them to tell us what it should look like, whether we should start out with colonial and evolve to Victorian, or stick to just Victorian, and they thought we should have a colonial theme. That's why we had the brick sidewalks, which were my idea, and the street lights. I would have had the street lights be gas, so they wouldn't be so bright, but what we have is what the council at that time approved. So I wanted to share with you, because I have been hearing various places, picnic at Long Park a few years ago, somewhere else. Haymarket was named Haymarket because, and I know Susan Edwards and Connor are on the council, and they already heard me say this, so I apologize that you're having to listen again. But they were saying Haymarket was called Haymarket because people came here to buy hay. And I thought, that just doesn't make sense, because this whole area was farms. The Carolina Road was an Indian trail of trading that went all the way into Pennsylvania. 55 went all the way into West Virginia, but they were dirt roads. And then I found these pictures from 1824, which were just before Haymarket was founded.
Where did you find them?
Actually, I bought them from another elderly resident of Haymarket.
Oh my gosh, they're so beautiful.
And what these are Haymarket, London, in 1824. The town's founder's name was Skinker. William Skinker named the town after a raceway in London, and that's what that is of. And Haymarket, historically, if you've read the one history book that we have in town, we had horse races here. And it has Little Johnny and somebody else, two horses' heads on the front of that book. And our now deceased town historian, Sarah Turner, knew a lot about the history of the town. She was in her 70s, I think, when I moved here. And her son was one of our vice mayors for a number of terms. But I found this book that was written in 1929 by a woman whose grandmother was alive here during the Civil War. And they went to church at St. Paul's Church, and there's a page in here where it says, in Old English terms, and oh, by the by, which would be when we would say by the way and make a statement. By the by, the village of our parish church, Haymarket, was named after a London race course. So that's the proof I was looking for. And I'm so excited to know that people couldn't say people named the town after because it was a place to buy hay. Because when people are traveling, they would just travel along and stop on farms. And I'm sorry, did you have a question?
I just wanted you to tell us the name of that book, if you don't mind.
That book is A Virginia Scene or Life in Old Prince William by Alice Maud Ewell. And Ewell is a historic name in Haymarket. She lived out near Bull Run Mountain on the Carolina Road. She wasn't very happy about roads getting paved. She liked them to stay gravel or dirt. She called them the dirt road. And it's a wonderful book. I could just read it over and over. It's so interesting. So when I get a chance, I'm going to try to get more copies of it. But I think it's a great tool. And one of the things that the book said was that they didn't have anything for the color red. They used walnuts to make the color brown, and that red came, their shade of red was a burgundy, and it came from mashed up pokeberries. So, and that's typical of the colonial days. I've heard that in Williamsburg and other places too. So the point I'm making, I'm so thrilled that all of you are here. I'm thrilled that you have the willingness to throw yourself out there and spend your time to try to make the town look good. But keep in mind that if you have a colonial or historic theme, bright red is a color that doesn't necessarily, and we had adopted colors. I don't know where they went. We had,
We have them.
that's not the one we had, though. That's what came after that. But just keep in mind, bright red isn't one of the colors. Browns, hunter greens, there are lots of colonial colors and lots of that would fit into the, but when you get into the Victorian era, you get into the pink houses and that kind of thing. And when I first moved here, there was one pink house, a Victorian house on Fayette Street. But I've watched a number of the historic houses be torn down, burned down. I have tried, spent a lot of money to save one myself, only to find out now it's eaten up with termites. But it breaks my heart. But they're in the foundation, and it's only a cellar that supports it, so there's no real way to. But I'm just saying, whatever is built. One of the issues that came up when I was on the Planning Commission, ARB, and I couldn't make other people see it, there were actually two things. But one was our buildings were too far apart. And everybody talked about setbacks between buildings. If you're a historic town, your buildings and shops were right up against each other, like the row of shops that is, what is that? The street across where Winterham, where the historic Winterham house is. And they wanted Winterham to always be seen, so they had those shops have the ends on Washington Street. But if you had that look up and down Washington Street as much as you could. So keep that in mind when the property across the road from you develops and whatever properties come before you, as much as can be. The buildings, the large buildings that are already here that just look like big buildings, there's nothing that can be done about those. But it's great that you were working with the Foster's Grill people so they can be seen and people can know what's there and the businesses can thrive, because you want the businesses to thrive because that's what will keep our town. That's the lifeline of the town. And the reason we wanted the historic overlay is that you have zero power if you don't have a historic overlay in place. Is that correct? To do the controls, you have no power. So a lot of people say, well, the historic overlay should only cover I think the former Planning Commission chair said, it should only cover these 2 blocks. Then you can't control what goes on the next 4 blocks and those 4 blocks. It has to cover the whole town in order for you to control what the whole town looks like. And my final comment is with siding. If you notice the siding in Haymarket Station, which is the one across from the Baptist Church, not Green Hill Crossing, but the one that surrounds my house. Those houses all have hardy board. I was trying to get the ARB to say only hardy board would be allowed, and what hardy board is a composite of cement that looks like wood siding. So you get the colonial look, but you don't have to have all the houses have boards on them, and it lasts. Some of the plastic siding, the vinyl siding, the aluminum siding dents up, bends up, gets deteriorated looking. And as I'm driving along 66, now I think they have a wall up there so they don't see us quite as much as they did. But I thought, there's a brand new subdivision that was just built a few years ago, and the siding already doesn't look very good. So keep that in mind too. I don't want to tell you everything to do. I'm just trying to tell you the things that will keep the town looking good long term. If it looks like wood, but it's sturdier and stronger and has the cement composite, it'll last a long time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Dottie.
Thanks, Dottie.
My pleasure. I love this town. I don't know if I'll be here long, but I love it.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is to close. That's about 7:40.
Just the difference.
Susanna, do you
Yeah,
want to take the
like you could keep the palette.
I'll take the original, I'll give you a copy.
Do you want to take these? Because we have them in our notebooks. Yeah.
I didn't know if you did or not, so I thought I'd better
We
have them
do.
out. And thank you all so much for your special attendance here, and I guess it's Connor already signed too.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Bless his heart, okay, well, I appreciate him helping.
Susanna, you may want to include in the title, I put the West sign on the title there. You may want to just put sign design.
Well, I think it's adequate, whatever, even
Okay.
if you all had approved all the signage, you still didn't approve all the
Oh, no,
signage.
Connor's.
Right.
Susanna's like, did Connor fly out of here?
That's with the back door. There's a secret little button you press.
Please. Well, I wanted just to thank you for coming, because I know this is a little bit unusual, but I appreciate you all putting your time into this. And like I said, I wasn't too concerned over the semantics of what you approved, because
Yeah.
I knew what you approved. and
Right.
I knew what I was supposed to look at, so I don't have a problem with that. I just wanted to be sure, the only thing I was gonna say was, if you say approve the lighting but not the signage, that was the only thing I wanted to make sure that we got straight. But you
Right.
approved, you approved all of basically what he submitted that you could, so that you, this is easy.
Yeah.
Very easy. Thank you.
Yeah, I would have had a hard time not approving the signage since it has been up there so long.
Yeah,
Everyone's
but-
become accustomed to it. The moment we shoot that down, I'll tell you, everybody would be jumping on our butts.